What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast, episode number 12. And today, the person that'll be explaining to us today is your name,
Oh, sorry.
Giselle.
Giselle.
And all right, Giselle, my girlfriend.
I was about to say, who
Yeah.
is Giselle?
Yeah, finally the mystery woman.
I don't think
All
it's
right.
mystery. It's just the fact that you mentioned me so much. And if people have watched every episode, they're like, who is she at this point?
I know it's. They even saw Winter before they saw you.
Hey,
Okay.
man, it's your show.
Uh-huh. All right, Giselle, my girlfriend. How old are you and where'd you grow up?
So I am 24 years old, which thankfully makes me younger than you. And I was born in Phoenix, but I haven't lived here my entire life. I was 2 weeks old when I was taken to Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, in Chihuahua. Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua.
Your accent's so nice.
Thank you.
Juarez, Mexico.
Juarez. Yeah, Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. And then once I got like old enough to start school, we just crossed the border into El Paso, Texas. And then from Texas, we came back to Arizona. And here I am.
I know, right? You guys got lucky. I would say top 3 best state in the United States right now.
Sure.
I mean, the migration, I'll put some numbers up right here.
Oh my
I knew
God.
I'd get some numbers in here. Arizona is one of the most sought out states to move to in the United States in the past 3 years.
Well, now it is. But when we moved to Arizona, I was like 7.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
It's been a while, but now everybody loves being here, and people like even the athletes like Devin Booker, even Kevin Durant just got here. He said these are his favorite fans of all time. We're from here. It's because we are ride or die. Like we would kill for our athletes. Like that Denver game, the Suns in 4. That guy obviously, I'll probably put his picture here. He's famous as hell now. He got front row tickets just from the Suns in 4 thing. What high school did you attend, babe?
I went to a super tiny high school. Tiny in comparison to like what you think of a normal high school. I went to Bioscience High School in downtown Phoenix. And when I attended there, when I graduated, the total number of students was like 300. And we were the 10th graduating class. So this was 2016.
So it was founded in 2006?
Yeah, around that time. No. 2010.
2010.
Yeah. So we were the 10th graduating class. We were the biggest graduating class at the time, and we were 52 students.
Wow.
Our graduation ceremony was like an hour.
It's like
and 15 minutes. It wasn't very long.
It's like a grade school gymnasium.
Thanks. But no, like it was so small just because it was a public school, but you had to apply to get into it. Like you had to have a portfolio, you had to do interviews, you had to be accepted into the school.
Wow.
But it was still part of Phoenix Union High School District, so still public. A lot of people thought that it was a charter school, but it's not. It's a school for smart kids.
So it's like a college for high school?
Kinda, yeah, because it did work a lot like a college. Like when we first started freshman year, we started freshman year with about 136 students, which was the biggest freshman class at the time. And by December, half of them had already dropped out just because of how hard it was. So if you lasted through all 4 years, like to being a senior and then graduating, it was kind of like you survived hell.
Wow.
It was very tough. And then junior year, you had to pick. At the time, there were only 2 pathways, is what we called them. You could be either in biomedical or engineering, and that would be like it would be like the first step to the type of career or major you were going to choose in college. But there were only 2 choices at the time. They switched them out. There were different choices before I got there and then different choices after.
What did you pick?
Biomedical. Are you kidding? I'm not going to be engineering. No. Disgusting.
I mean, you are a female. You could get hired, because big companies have those quotas, female quotas, where they hire females no matter what. You could have gone.
No. The physics that we were doing at the time, no, I didn't get it. It was disgusting. I was sticking to biomedical. And then since I was a kid, when people would ask like what I wanted to be, I would say a doctor. So when they were like, what do you want, engineering or biomedical? I'm like, well, biomedical. I got no other choice. So yeah, but then I said, screw it.
Could you give us an example of like the physics you were learning there?
Oh my God. No.
Just a simple one, like
Um,
tree falling out of the sky because of some.
no.
It's gonna like land at these coordinates because of the wind and drag and turbulence and all that
No.
stuff.
Okay. Well, how about this? So one of the things that, because once you chose a pathway, your classes would be separated that way. So like I had my best friend who was in engineering, and I never saw them because their classes were completely different from mine.
Mhm.
And then they had like the robotics club was like the sports team of the school, because we didn't. By the way, we didn't have sports teams. We didn't have cheerleaders. Nothing. So our robotics club was like the one who went to competitions and like out of state and things
What do you
like
mean
that.
the battle bots?
Yeah, yeah.
Battle
So like the
bots.
engineers would be the ones who would like be behind making the robots. There was like, I think it was right before we got there.
You could
Some
have
of
been building battle bots, is what you're trying to tell me.
yeah,
She could have been building battle
yeah,
bots.
but did I want to?
It could have been like a
No.
hobby. That would have been cool. That would have been a cool hobby. You could do with your
Yeah, but
kids. You could
like
do with your
they were
family.
doing a lot of different things like that. Like I was going to say, there was I think right before us they had built their own car, and then like the class of like my year, like they kept on developing it as we went along. But yeah, no, so that type of physics where you're learning about like aerodynamics and like motors and things like that, I did not care.
Oh, okay, okay.
I did not care. I wanted to stick with like biomedical, and on the biomedical side you would have people who wanted to be doctors, who wanted to be biologists, who wanted to be chemists. People wanted to be marine biologists. That was a big one when I was going to school
Really?
there. Yes, that was a really big one. So it's not necessarily just being a nurse or a doctor. There were like other things within the biomedical field.
Hmm.
um, but I don't know, I think to begin with the school population was like pretty in between, like even-ish of like boys to girls. And then
Hmm.
in engineering it was a lot of like guys who would take that path. But I think also because a lot of the teachers who did like the engineering classes were male. So
Hmm.
like the group that was building the car,
Yeah.
it was very easy for all of the guys to get along and talk about like fuel and like pump injections and things like that. It's like, and there were women who would do it, but they would be more into the physics of it. There were a lot of the robotics club was actually female. So
No shit.
yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. It would just depended, like, we're all smart. It was like a school of smart people, of brainiacs. Not to like
Bunch of weirdos. Like those no offense, but the people who went with the huge backpacks that
oh
drag
my
their
god.
back like this, and this is how they walk at school. I was like, dude, your back is so effed.
Well, again, it was just a special school, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at. Um,
Hmm.
what I was also going to say when you were like, okay, before you move on,
Hmm.
senior year, what we did is had classes in the morning, and then you were required in order to graduate to do over 100 hours of an internship. So you would have classes in the morning, and then a lot of the seniors would leave to go to their internships in the afternoon. So we'd be excused from like school for the rest of the day to go to do our internship. And our internship had to be related to like the field that we wanted to go into.
I don't. Hold on. Hold on. Hold
Okay.
on. Hold on.
Oh
Hold on.
boy. Mm.
I see how important internship is.
Yes.
Obviously you get
Uh-huh.
experience under your belt,
Uh-huh.
but that's some bull.
Why?
Because you go to school in the morning just to
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah. But you got to get out. You could like
You
do
should
what you
do. You
didn't have
should
to
be
come
doing.
back.
Yeah, but oh wait, what? What do you have to come back?
No. So
So what do
like
you go to school for then? Like
so
if you have
you
the
do your
internship.
classes in the morning, like your regular school classes in the
Okay.
morning, and then you go to lunch, and then a lot of the seniors wouldn't come back from lunch because they just go to their internship.
So you guys want to school for like 4 hours a day?
Pretty much, yeah.
That sounds nice.
So, but then there were people like me who my internships were all after school, so I had to stay, and you would just do like schoolwork basically
Mm.
um, until it was time to go home. But the whole point, like you said, is to get an internship that would be getting you real world experience for what you wanted to do. Yeah.
That's it's smart, but it's not like a school. It's more like it sounds like a trade, kind of.
Hmm. Well, the funny thing is too that back to the point of like it worked like a college. So my specific year, my high school had like a partnership with ASU
Hmm.
that our high school courses would count for like general ed credits for ASU. So by the time I got to college, I didn't have to do any of my general ed courses because I
Whoa.
had done those all like my junior and senior year. I don't know how long they kept that partnership going, but basically because of that, by the time I started my freshman year, I needed one math class in college, and that was it.
Damn, that must be nice.
Yeah, so there was a lot of like, trying to advance, trying
Mhm.
to, you know, get the
Wow.
smart
All
people
those people
the
that
resources.
those those people that quit early, they messed up bad because now it's because wow, it's almost easier to be smart than being dumb.
Whoa, whoa.
I'll elaborate.
Okay, okay,
It's a very hot take. Hold on, I haven't seen anyone make this take before.
okay.
Okay, now obviously people watch movies. They watch like anime, especially in animes. They
Mm-hmm.
always have like this fat ugly kid or like scrawny kid or
Okay.
shorter something like that, you know, some kid that's not part of the big groups, or like
Uh-huh.
not aesthetically looking or something like that,
Sure.
or is not as smart because they would get bullied constantly, so their confidence diminishes, suicide rates go high,
Mm-hmm.
drug uses go high. But like if you get to go to a charter school or a school where it's like a less population smart kids, there's a lot less bullying, a lot less fighting, a lot less drugs, a lot less of all of that. Because my classes had 35 people per class. My teacher, I can't name it to you obviously because I forgot, but
Uh-huh.
I was one of the bad kids my freshman year. Um, I failed. I think I only had one A out of all six of my classes.
Mm-hmm.
I had Fs every single other one.
Mm-hmm.
And my teacher gave up on me like I think like the first month. The first month, no, two teachers gave up on me. My
It's
math
just
teacher first.
the way you
She
say gave up on me.
yeah. So let me give you an example of how she gave up on me.
Okay.
Um, I would be in class. I was one of the growing up. I was the one that I'm referring to. I was bullied, hurt,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
kinds
yeah.
of stuff because I was always smaller, younger, and shorter than everybody.
Okay.
Because everybody had like a year or 2 years older than me, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously they're more developed. They
Mm-hmm.
also all the boys were also into women further than I was.
Okay.
I was still like in the rough and tumble
Mm-hmm.
stage of my life. They were already into like
Girls.
and other things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those
Okay.
things we don't want to mention. But
Yeah, no, no,
so yeah,
this.
there was a gap between me and a lot of other kids.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in high school, I was 13 my whole freshman year. Everyone was 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing quinces, they're doing all kinds of stuff, and I was still
Yeah.
like, let's play soccer, let's play football or something like that. I was an outside kid.
Okay.
And so I wasn't back to the class thing. There was a math class. I would always talk a lot. I was very social. I would talk to constantly people while my teacher would be like talking about a subject, like, oh, this is how you solve this problem, whatever, on the board, and then I'd just talk to this girl next to me. I would just talk to this boy next to me,
Mm.
and she would get so livid. She made me sit in the front seat, front row, to make me listen or whatever.
Yeah, because you'd
I
get distracted.
yeah, and then boom, distracted again. Started talking to everyone around me. Then she's like, you know what? Sit in the back corner. So the only options you have is to talk to the person ahead of you and to the left. But she moved the two people that were there, so it was empty desks there.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna play cards. So I got a deck of cards and I just played cards back there. The thing was, the people slowly started coming to the back.
Oh.
So I had a group of like 3 people with me, and we're all just playing poker through math class. And
Okay.
my teacher accepted it because as long as because I used to yell at her, cuss at her. I used to like lead the class. She
Oh.
used to be like, "Hey, do this, do that." You know what? Grab my backpack, just left the room. Didn't even give her any
So you
mind.
just
Or...
didn't care
Yeah,
about
I didn't care at all.
anything. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so we were complete
so
opposites
yeah.
in high school.
As I said, like the first month, my teacher moved me alone. You
Yeah.
know, the back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was sitting in the back, and then obviously I'll play cards, and then other kids that did this exact same thing I did that
Yeah.
were not into the class. There was also smart kids that didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be in the class either because they already knew everything was on that they were studying, so they would just come to the back and play poker with me, and I would talk to the smart kids all the time. That way, it's weird because the smart kids are so evolved because they were from Cali. In Cali, they already did everything within the
Mm.
next 2 years, so they're like, dude, I'll just wait for the test, and I just ace the test.
I
I'm like,
like
does that work?
Kelly.
Yeah. So so yeah, we played poker, and then my second class was a gym class, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
female teacher, and everyone was a female there except for me and this other guy.
Hmm.
But the whole class was female. Me and the other guy would just talk, have fun, make jokes and stuff like that. Same thing
Yeah.
happened. She moved me to the back alone, and then she paired me with this one girl. Me and the girl started talking a lot, and then after she found out, obviously separated me. In the first 2 months, already started making me like, she separated me from the class entirely, and
Okay,
it
but
just made me
like,
do like run laps or do push-ups. But as long as I'm not involved in the
okay, but like,
class
why were
thing,
they always girls though?
I don't know.
Who you would end up talking to?
It's because that school. Remember, I told you that was so full. The
Okay. Okay.
the
Sure.
weight training was full.
Hmm.
So when my mom enrolled me to the school,
Yeah.
all the classes were already taken, like
Okay.
the good classes.
Hmm.
So I got stuck with all the classes that people didn't want. So that girl class, I forgot what it's called, but that girl class I had to take it because of the wellness.
Okay.
That's what it was. It was like
Wellness.
hygiene and some type of like calisthenics and all that type of thing that they'll teach you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it was
So
just all female, and I was in there, obviously created a ruckus, and then first 2 months, the teacher just left me alone in the class,
hmm.
and to me, it was like, okay, cool, I didn't care about school anymore, and it just kept walking out of class. French, the same thing, didn't take French because I didn't
Okay.
want French. I requested to change French to Spanish. They denied my request. I wanted to change it to weight training.
Okay.
Denied it, and I asked them anything. Give me marketing. Give me guitar. Nothing. And I think I even offered to do choir. Rejected. Rejected everything. So what I did was I just ditched. Every time it was fourth period, it was right after lunch. I would go to fourth period and I'll just
Hmm.
go straight to the bathroom and then just chill on the sink area. I'll just sit on the sink and then just hang out with other people who are ditching for 3 straight weeks. Never went to the class. Then they finally talked to me. Hey, is there something wrong with the class? Why don't you want to go to the class? Like, I made a ton of requests to change it, but yeah, I have a huge problem. Like, I'm not gonna go to that class. Period. It's like you can kick me out of school, but I'm not gonna go to that class. And they finally changed it. I got weight training finally, because look at my frame. I was always smaller than everybody. Weight training was my number one thing to catch up
Hmm.
to people, and it did. Once I did weight training, my confidence went up, my self-esteem went up, and I just started paying attention in school more. I started being more proactive instead of feeling alienated.
Do you remember how you started telling the story?
Yeah.
Can we go back?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So back to what I was saying is, I think
Okay.
dumb people have a harder time in school because of that. There's a lot more strife. There's a lot more pushback. There's a lot more, like, could you do certain things? Like, I can't. I don't have, my brainwaves don't operate the same way as someone else. Like, their learning habits.
Mm.
So like,
So I would.
there you can read a book. I cannot. I have this jittery
I
on my
can't read a book.
fingers. Yeah, like I do taps with my hands. I shake my hands. I move my foot. I have this thing where I have to keep moving or
I don't.
twitching.
Well, I wouldn't call that dumb kids. I would call that
Probably
like what
autistic.
you no like what you said. I wouldn't call it dumb kids. Like it's to your point. You literally said it
Mhm.
earlier. Not every kid learns the same way. It's not
Mhm.
one size fits all. And I think some schools do have that structure of like everybody has to do this the exact
Yeah,
same way in order
like
to
the
excel.
normal public schools are like that.
Yeah. So and then that's the thing with my school. This is gonna freak you out. We would grade, obviously we would get grades, but
Don't tell me you graded your own paper.
no,
Oh,
no,
that's
we would get graded on like our effort and like our problem solving and our intuitiveness. Like we could get a C paper, but if the teacher saw that you were trying hard enough and you were like putting the effort into a project and you were trying to go to tutoring or put in more hours or they would see that initiative in you, your grade would go up. Like it wasn't just about, okay, you got 10 out of 20 questions wrong, F.
that
It
is wild.
So for us, like the school, it was really about nurturing problem solving.
Yeah,
Um,
critical thinking.
exactly, critical
Yeah,
thinking. So it was just different in that sense.
completely different. So
Hmm.
that's exactly what I'm saying is fine. The when I said dumb, a dumb kid, it was more like self-deprecation. Obviously, I'm talking about
Ah,
myself. I always call.
okay,
If you
okay.
grew up with me, I always called myself dumb. The reason being is because my bar of um, like school knowledge has always been low.
Mm,
But when it came to life lessons, when it came to like some type of advice or like listening about weird things that people don't care about, like geopolitics,
Mm.
like knowing stuff about Denmark. No one cares. But for some reason, my brain was like, hey, let's listen to Denmark instead of mathematics. And that's just how my brain's wired. And also, I can't sit still in classes. It was one of the biggest issues. When I
Mm.
first solved that issue was when I was in junior year. Music calmed my brain down so I can
Yeah.
listen. Obviously, teachers won't allow you to wear headphones in class. And then if I
Not at your
did,
school.
wow, her school must have been so sick.
No, no.
Her school must have
Okay,
been
our
so cool.
school was like a school of nerds.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
you
we
guys got a
did.
lot of like liberties. We had no
Um,
liberties in my
well,
school at all.
that's where it would like
We
blur.
couldn't even bring food, drinks, nothing.
That's where you
Snacks.
like blur the lines over to like college. It felt like college at like
Mm-hmm.
14, 15, 16 years old. Um, and that's why by the time we got to college, when you had to use critical thinking, when you had to use problem solving, like in group projects or in papers or whatever, we already knew how to do that.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You guys, it was a lot easier. Yeah,
Well,
because you guys didn't grow up with like the
the
hazing
transition.
and the fighting, the bullying,
Oh, there was
the
still bullying.
alienation.
There was still
Yeah,
alienation. There
but it
just
wasn't like
different
gangs.
types. Exactly. It
Yeah,
wasn't like violence.
it
There's still
wasn't dangerous.
alienation.
It wasn't dangerous. When where I grew up, people were being stabbed. People brought
Okay.
guns to school. Like Copper Canyon. If when some of my friends that were on here, they were with me when went to the football game my freshman year. We're 14. I was 13. They were 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Kids brought guns to the football game.
You know, we
We're
couldn't do
kids.
that.
We're kids. Like I don't care how you want to stretch it. Oh, you guys are teenagers. Teenagers are kids. We brought guns to school. Like that's what I'm saying. That there's bullying that I see like on even on Harry Potter. You know when they
Hmm.
call each other Four Eyes and like
Yeah,
or
yeah,
they sock
yeah.
a kid. Like that's bullying. Like no, that's not bullying. That's like it's bullying, but it's not dangerous bullying. It's like a
It's
dangerous
not
bullying is
violent.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if the bully has a knife with him,
There
but
was
the
still.
minimum thing is he punched you. It's better than getting stabbed. That's the
Yeah.
way I grew up. Was like it's better than getting stabbed. Thank God he didn't stab me. My bullies had guns. My bullies had knives. Where I
Yeah.
grew up. Obviously, my brother was best friends with some of the bullies, so that obviously made it very awkward when I was growing up. But
Mm.
that's why I had like that. That's like if I grew up in a place that was more proactive to critical think,
Yeah.
I think I would have done a lot better. But I grew up a place
Probably.
where no one proactive. No one was proactive. There was maybe like two, three kids. Everybody knows those two, three kids that sit by the teacher's desk that are proactive. You know, the ones that go to school like I'm just trying to get school done and get the hell out. Those kids.
Well, see, that's where the selectiveness of the school comes in because, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
you had to apply to it. So the
Yeah.
fact that, like me, for example, that I
Mm-hmm.
applied to it, I had the initiative to
Mm-hmm.
find the school, go through the process, go through the interviews, go through everything. Like having a process like that, like already is selective to begin with because only the kids
Mm-hmm.
who have that initiative are gonna go for it.
Yeah, we didn't have initiative like that because my parents weren't into school.
Mm.
My mom could care less about where we went to school. My dad could too. You know,
Yeah.
there's some
See,
other stuff with my parents. You know, we want to get into it, but with school, the only time my dad and my mom both got into like
mhm.
initiative for school or academics was Jerry when he became a junior in high school. I would say around junior and around junior Jerry's senior year because my uncles would be the ones paying for my brother's stuff. Like
Mm.
he needed a laptop, obviously. He
Yeah.
would need a phone. He would need internet. We didn't have internet. We didn't have any of
Mm.
that stuff. So Jerry was getting a bunch of the stuff
That sucks.
so he can learn
Yeah.
because his godfather, you know, he has money, so he was the one like, you know,
Mm.
sending gifts and stuff for Jerry and stuff. And he would also reward Jerry every time Jerry would send him his report card.
Yeah.
He would reward Jerry with like games or
Oh, okay.
devices, consoles and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Well,
And me and
there's the
Brian,
initiative.
yeah, me and Brian never had an issue. If for an example, my 7th grade, if I had straight A's, nothing would happen.
Hmm.
8th grade, if I had straight A's, nothing would happen. You know why? Because my dad raised me more like, you don't need school. As soon as you get out of high school, you're coming with me to the company. So my dad was
Mm.
more like, this is what you actually need to learn.
See, and like,
School is just point A to point B, but work was more like plan C through Z. That's how he raised me.
mm,
Same thing with Brian, and he just raised us to be workers basically, and then not workers,
mm,
but to take the company. So we would have to talk to customers, we would have to negotiate, we would have to give prices out, we would always have to text them, always be professional. We never swear at work. We never played vulgar music.
you
We
never
never even played
swore.
swore. Yeah, like alternative music. We didn't even play that.
Oh,
We
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
play nothing. All we could do is play oldies.
Okay.
So my
See,
whole
like,
life we played oldies, and that's where it's at work. But when we came home, the complete opposite. It was just like night and day. We cussed, played vulgar music, did all the opposite.
hmm.
And so my dad was basically just showing us like, be an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
don't be an academic.
See, but
And Jerry was the opposite. Jerry was more like, you need to be academic. You shouldn't be an entrepreneur. Type of thing.
um, well, that's the thing. Going back to the whole initiative point
Mm-hmm.
that I was trying to make before you rambled on again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I came like the school that I was going to, which was like grade school through middle school before my high school, was like what you're describing. It was ghetto. It was like I did go to a ghetto school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did have kids who were like 10, 11 bringing drugs to school, like things like that. So I do have that background as well,
Mm-hmm.
like you did, just not in high school. And then when it was time to come to go to high school, I was like, I don't want to be around this anymore. So I found that school in a different one within the same district.
Mm-hmm.
And I applied to both, but bioscience was the one who actually got back to me first.
Okay.
And I ended up going to bioscience. By the time the other school, because I checked in with them, it was like a couple weeks before the school year started. I was like, hey, I've been trying to reach out. Like, did I ever get accepted or not? They were
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, yeah, you got accepted months ago. And I'm like, well, too late now. Like, I did the orientation and everything at bioscience. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
So who gave you the initiative at home? Was it
At
your
home?
brothers? Your mom?
So my mom was always, even now, she advocates for like education is the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks that people who are professional, who have a degree, like they did it right. Like they're the ones who, get a gold star.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get the initiative from her telling me like, oh, education is the way to go. I got the initiative from knowing all of the sacrifices that my family did as immigrants. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make this worth their while. I'm going to become something.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my initiative came from. It wasn't like, oh, I have to be an academic to succeed in life. It was more like, I am going to become something so
Mm-hmm.
that everything that they went through, and not just my parents, my siblings as well, like it will be for a purpose.
Okay. So I would say the initiative came from your probably older people in general. Because it looks
I
like,
was always around adults. You know
yeah.
this. Like I didn't grow up with
Mm-hmm.
I have siblings, but I'm not close to my siblings like you are in the sense that like we hang out together and we talk all the
We
time. It's
fight
like,
and
yeah, I
scream
didn't
at
have
each
that.
other.
Like so I have 3 siblings. I'm the youngest of 4, 1 sister, 2 brothers, and then me.
Yeah.
When my oldest brother graduated high school, I was starting kindergarten. Like we are so far apart in age.
Yeah.
So being the youngest one, I was like, okay, she messed up. He did good. He did okay. Like I learned from everything that everybody else did, and I knew what I could and couldn't do before. So it was kind of like later down the line. I explained this to my mom one time. Of like I kind of paid for their mistakes in a way
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I can't make my own mistakes. I can't step out of line because they already made her go through that.
Yeah.
So I have to be good and do good. And a part of it was also just the type of personality that I have of like, I have to have a goal. I have to be working towards something because if I don't have a purpose, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Goal oriented.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
Ah, that's actually a good segue, babe. Because we talk about like everything that I did back then.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But it's good to go through those things because, like I said, they don't know you.
yeah.
Of course, I know you.
Yeah,
and
you
it
know.
sounds like, babe, we already talked about this, but they don't know anything.
Hey.
And not only that, I told you this. Not that many people have the same walk, or even.
Yeah.
You're very uncommon. Not even uncommon. You're very rare. Like if there's a rare,
According to him, I'm very rare, but to me, this is the norm. You are like, where are you coming from?
the norm. Okay, how many kids graduated at your high school again?
Everybody.
The norm. 50 compared to hundreds that graduated at mine.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
So I work for a digital marketing agency in LA. And basically, I'm on the team that handles the digital marketing for HBO Max. If you
Nice.
didn't know, it's going to be Max, May 23rd coming.
Yeah, this thing actually would be out by then.
Yeah, there you go. You can
So.
go. You can go get it. Anyway, so basically, people are like, "Well, what is that?" I'm like, "So if when you're scrolling through Instagram, when you're going through Snapchat, Facebook, and you see ads for HBO Max,
Hmm.
we made those.
Whoa.
We made those. So we're one of three marketing
Wait.
agencies that HBO Max
Hmm.
has doing that.
Yeah, I saw some of your ads.
You
I
did?
remember when we first started dating. She was talking to me on the phone, and I was scrolling through Facebook or something like that, and then I
Yeah.
saw an HBO Max HBO thing commercial. I was like, wait, what the hell?
Big Brother always listens, babe.
Yeah, it's weird. I get a bunch of HBO ads now.
Do you know the Big Brother reference?
They probably don't.
The
But
novel 1984. It's like a
no.
dystopian society where like basically um the government entity is like
Hmm.
always listening in. Like there's
Okay.
like recording devices and like cameras in your house, basically. So the whole thing when it's like, oh, Big Brother's listening is because when you talk about something enough and like your phone hears it, like you start getting
Hmm.
ads about that something.
Yeah,
It's very real.
it's
Um
Google.
anyway, so yeah, so I that's what I do now. I am a production coordinator, so that's like the entry level position.
Hmm.
And from there, I'm just trying to go up the ranks in order to manage my own account one day. Kind of like my boss, my manager now manages the HBO Max account. Um,
What do they do? Your boss.
my boss is very client facing. Like she's the one who, and the other producer too, but they're the ones who HBO Max comes to. They're like, okay, this is what we want. And she's in charge of the project from beginning to end.
Oh.
So we get anything that HBO Max asks of us, it's like in the form of a ticket. So if they want a video, that's one ticket. We handle hundreds of tickets a week. Um, so she's the one who manages that from like the moment we get the ticket to the moment that we deliver it and like everything in between. Oops, sorry. Um, so yeah, you're just basically like, and then she obviously has to supersede all of us, like the designers, the creative director, me, the other producer. So she's in charge of the entire team as well, making sure that we're always on our deadlines, making sure that we have everything that we need, that the client is happy at all times.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that they are because at least the HBO Max team that we work with at HBO Max,
Hmm.
they've told us that when they need something done quickly, which we get those sometimes where we get a ticket and it's like, okay, it's due tomorrow and it's like 6 p.m. the day before. Um, so they've told us that when they need something done quickly, they come to our team, which again, one of
Yeah.
three marketing agencies in all of LA.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what we do now. That's what I do now.
Hopefully in AZ we get one because it's been a monopoly in LA for the longest time with recording studios and stuff. I've
Hmm.
seen how much money it goes into just the sound. Remember the building where they create the sounds for the movies?
Mm-hmm.
It's like worth hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Just the
Sorry.
building for the sound. And to build that building is like $100 billion.
Yeah, I have a
It's a lot.
whole. I could go on about why Hollywood doesn't make moves in Arizona. There's very clear reasons why,
Hmm.
but yeah. So the short
Not yet.
answer is
Not yet. Hmm.
I help to make all of those digital ads, digital videos promoting the shows that are on the HBO Max streaming service.
That sounds cool.
It's
Um,
a lot of work.
yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a very high stress job. You have to be able to manage a lot under pressure.
I did a lot of low level marketing when growing up in high school. I took marketing 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was my favorite class because
Okay.
obviously my dad raised me to be an entrepreneur. Obviously, the best class for me was
Yeah.
marketing and entrepreneuring. And you basically create companies, you create websites, you create PowerPoints.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, you also have to sell stuff. So you create your T-shirts, whatever company you have, and you have to go around school and selling it. And then the person who sold the most obviously gets an A. Stuff like that. Well, we
Mm.
did, and you also got to negotiate. He teaches you how to negotiate and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. I love
Yeah.
marketing.
I didn't think that I was going to end up in the marketing world of entertainment. That is not where I thought my life was going to go. But here I am.
Oh, yeah. What is your career goal?
So, my career goal
Yep.
in this job or just
Career,
in my
career,
life.
what career as in the broad word of it?
Mm. That's the short answer to that is who knows?
That was a good question. Then
No, no,
let's
no,
go.
no, no, no. Okay, so that's the short answer. The long answer is I didn't start off my career, like I said earlier, to try to be in entertainment marketing. Um, I went
Mm-hmm.
to film school. We didn't talk about that at all. But in college, that's what I did. I went to film school. I was going to be, or I wanted to move to LA, do the movie thing, like become a film director one day, which is not a bad plan. But
Mm-hmm.
I graduated 3 months before COVID. So I finally had the film degree and then the world shut down. So I couldn't move to LA. I couldn't try to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a couple of stuff that I did after graduation that I think we'll talk about later that ended me up in entertainment in marketing, specifically entertainment marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So now my goal, and I was just talking about this the other day with my mom and my best friend because we just had our peer reviews, like our yearly evaluations. And one of the things that I've talked about since I joined the company and like going forward is I want to get from like a production coordinator title to an associate producer title and
Mm-hmm.
then climb up the ladder from there because it's coordinator, associate producer, producer, senior producer, and then executive producer. So I want to get to the producer title because I could take that anywhere. I could take that to a film studio. I
Yeah.
could take that
Get a
to
job
a
anywhere.
marketing agency,
It's also called
anywhere.
networking, right?
What is?
It's because I'm assuming, right?
Uh-huh.
If you have a job in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
so you have like a marketing job, if you start making friends in
Oh,
high places,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that could also like contribute a lot because they could also like back you like, hey, I want to have this job and this person who are
Mm-hmm.
higher up than you also say that'll be good for this position.
I
And
can.
then the person hiring will be like, okay, I'm gonna compare her with those top people like networking compared to someone who doesn't have networking. You would
Mm,
always get the job.
so the thing about networking in film
Oh,
specifically,
okay. Mm-hmm.
because when you're in film school, you are always told that the person next to you could be the next Steven Spielberg, so become friends with the person next to you. So in film school, you're supposed to be networking from the get go,
That's smart.
because in film, at least film crew specifically, um, people tend to stick together. So like there's the cinematographer will always use the same gaffer, the same
What's a
first
gaffer?
AC. The gaffer is the one who's in charge of like all the lights and the lighting look of the film. So all of those people, all the electricians, all the best boy grips, all the grips. I know these are all film
Sorry,
crew
I'm not gonna
titles.
ask you to describe all. That's a
Yes,
lot of stuff.
yeah, no, no. So basically, all of this is under the camera department, and the DP, if they like you, they'll keep you on your on like. If they go to a movie, they'll be like, "Oh, can I bring this person with me to be a part of my crew?" Like
Hmm.
that's how it works on film sets. Um, Going from like producers or like post production people like editors, it's like it's all about how like, oh, this person edited this movie for me, now I have this other movie, can I bring them as an assistant editor? Like that's how it works in film.
Mm-hmm.
um in or entertainment in general, the way that I am now, like a lot the people at my company who have been doing this for a long time, or even like the CEO of my company, like they know other people at other agencies. Or best case scenario for me is like I'm working right now currently for the company that works for HBO Max, but everybody at HBO Max knows who I am. So if
Nice.
they have an opening, I could just go from going from working at the agency to working at HBO Max or whatever studio or whatever client we have. So that's how I see the connection
I
at
see
for
it
where
that way
I'm at right
too.
now. Um, so that's why I said there's a short answer and there's a long answer.
Yeah. Here's another crazy thing. What is your biggest hobby? And tell them why.
How is that a crazy thing?
Because once you say it, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell?"
Are we talking about the same hobby?
Yeah.
What hobby?
The BTS.
Oh,
What's the guy's name? Jimin?
Jimin. Okay, get it
Jimin.
right. Get it
Jimin.
right.
Isn't he in
Jimin.
Transformers?
Huh? No, he's not. No,
In
no, no, no. He's featured on the new Fast and the Furious like
Fast and Furious.
soundtrack
Okay.
for the yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I wouldn't think that's a hobby. Anyway, what he's talking about
Mm-hmm.
is that I'm very into Korean culture because of K-pop, which is a world that you know nothing about.
Thank God.
Absolutely. Excuse you. No, 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 no. So yeah, I'm into just Korean food, the
Mhm.
language, the culture, the music. It's beautiful.
I said hobby because of the concerts that you would go to, and
Oh,
then
so
you
I would
described it to
say
me as a
I
hobby.
would say maybe concert going is my hobby, just
Hmm.
because obviously with COVID, none of the artists could come to America, and then during COVID, K-pop got even bigger here in the U.S. It did because they were just putting out so much content
Oh,
that
because they were home all the time.
they because we were home all the
Oh no,
time.
no, I'm talking about them putting out so much content.
No, they would put out like music videos and songs and things like that. So, um, when everything opened up again, all of the groups came last year. So,
Mm.
um, a lot of the groups that I wanted to see ended up coming to America. So that's how I ended up doing 9 K-pop concerts and 1 Korean music festival in the span of like
See,
12 months.
and she always described it to me as this is my expensive hobby.
Yes, okay. I
That's
don't
what
do
I named
drugs.
it.
I don't go out. I don't do like I don't spend
Same.
okay. I don't spend money on like stupid things. So I was like, the
I mean,
one
I don't do it.
thing that my money goes into is like going to concerts. Which K-pop concerts are expensive. If you ever try to get K-pop concert tickets, be ready for like Hunger Games on steroids
The
because
price right there.
it's bad. I could say I can give you a better price. The amount that it cost for me to go to these concerts last year, and I'm not just talking the tickets. I'm talking because they never come to Arizona. I'm talking about like um hotel, like rental car,
And
everything
the
that I had to get,
Airbnbs and
like
stuff that you take.
Airbnbs, things like
Okay.
that. I spent over $8,000 last year on all of the concerts
Wow.
that I went to.
Wow.
But hey, it was
That's a big
freaking
eight.
worth it. No, it was worth it because I had the time of my life. And
You go, sister.
yeah. And don't call me sister ever again. Please do not. I don't even call my sister sister. Like that's just weird. Um but
I know.
no, and the best part is I think this freaked you out too when I told you I go alone.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm the yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like why wouldn't I go alone? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why that freaked you out
It
so
freaks me
much.
out,
No,
especially because
it's
you're young
so
and you're a woman.
F it, because I can't cuss. But like,
Yeah,
and because I'm a woman, wait.
because there's a lot of guys that take advantage of women.
Okay,
They're like, hey, look, a woman that's alone.
no, okay. The reason why I go by myself is that I don't have a lot of people around me who are into K-pop. Not, especially not devoted enough to spend that much.
Yeah.
So I go by myself usually. I have the time of my life because I'm like, if I didn't do something because I didn't have someone to do it with, I would never do anything. Like, no, that's ridiculous. Sorry, babe. I know you. That's what you did.
Mhm.
And then Korean concerts or just or K-pop fans in general are usually the nicest, safest people. So like, I never felt in danger at any of
I
these
heard the exact same thing
concerts.
from Dante talking about EDM concerts.
Hmm.
It's just people doing acid and or just chilling.
No, we don't.
But
We don't do that.
it's
We
it's
don't do
kind of
that.
like you know how you guys see hippies. You know how like hippies are like, hey man, you know that type of people.
No.
But
Okay.
it's the what I'm saying is they're pacifists. It's
Hmm.
just a bunch of pacifists
It.
having fun. And if you go to a rap concert, it's the complete opposite. It's a
Hmm.
bunch of people like if you shove them too hard, they will deck you in the face or jump you
There's
or
like
something like that.
the
Like Travis
most.
Scott concert.
Oh god. Let's not talk about that. But no. So K-pop fans, there's a lot of people who don't know about K-pop who are like, K-pop fans are toxic. And yes, there are
Really?
fans that are toxic, but toxic towards the artist.
Oh.
Toxic towards the artist of like, one of the big popular things in K-pop is like if one they're called K-pop idols, like the singers in these groups. If an idol comes out or is like exposed as dating somebody, like his entire career is torn to shreds
Really?
because fans are like, you betrayed us, like why would you be with somebody else, and da, da, da. Like as if the idol did not have
A personal life.
exactly. And it's like, so there's toxic fans like that. There's toxic fans that will attack the fans of another group and like in like defense of their own group, and it's like, why are we being mean to each other? We all like our groups. Like, let's just all stay in our lanes. It doesn't matter. There's the toxic fans, and there's a specific name for them in Korean. Stop laughing. I know you want to
I
laugh.
don't know. It just it looks
Um,
like gangs, like
no,
gangs of K-pop people.
there's a specific term for toxic fans. They're called sasaengs. It's this different type of toxic
damn
fans.
used to sayings.
These are the ones who follow the idols onto their plane, follow the idols where they're staying, to their houses, that get their phone numbers and like call them up, like, and it's insane. So that's a whole different level of toxic. But people here in America who don't know anything about K-pop, they're like, oh, all K-pop fans are toxic. I'm like, no, we're not. There are some psycho ones, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, we are all just going together and enjoying the group or the singer that we all love.
Remember that one person that changed his whole body to look like?
Don't get me started on Ollie London. We don't like him. I don't care if he says that he is not going to try to be like that. Yeah, exactly.
He's reformed, guys.
I don't care if he says that he's being reformed. Like, that man or whatever he is. No,
He had an identity crisis, and
he definitely had an identity crisis.
He used his money to fix his identity crisis, and then walked it all back. This is on Temple's podcast. I'm not sure if it's on his podcast, like the Timcast IRL, or it might be the Timcast Culture War, one of the two. But he basically says he regrets everything he did.
Yeah, now he does, because he was freaking psycho.
I mean, a lot of people say that with other ideological groups, that I would say in 10, 15 years, we would all look at them and in the future with hindsight of 2020. I mean,
okay,
with the new
but like,
as
context for everybody who's
people
watching this and who we're talking about. Ollie London was a British man who a couple of years ago moved to Korea, or was in Korea for like a trip or whatever. He fell in love with the country, and then he decided to become Korean. This is a British white man. Like,
he identifies as Korean.
He identifies as Korean, or identified.
Yes.
But then when BTS, which is the biggest boy group, K-pop idol boy group in the world, there's 7 members in BTS. One of the members is Jimin, who you mentioned earlier, who is my favorite. Ollie London started to not only get surgery to look like Jimin, which is physically impossible, but he started to identify as Jimin. He would say that people on the street in Korea would mistake him for Jimin.
Oh my God.
And then he went to Vegas to get married to a cardboard cutout of Jimin.
Wow.
Like, no, you can't. There's so much that he did. The biggest, one of the biggest offensive things that he did is say, like, I'm Korean, I identify as Korean. Like, you can't identify as a race. Sorry.
Where did he get his money to do all that? It's expensive.
So he would make like online content, and because people would be so like,
this is funny.
No. People would like look him up. He would do interviews. He went on freaking Dr. Phil. Like, because people were consuming his content, like he was monetizing out of that.
Like Bad Barbie?
Sure.
Catch You Outside Girl?
Oh, yeah. Basically clout. And that's what the theory was. Like, either he's really psycho enough to believe what he's saying, or he's just trying to be outrageous and top himself to get more money.
I think it was the opposite, because that's what he described now is he found God, and everything he did back then he denounces. And he also says no one should do what he did.
Well, great that he's, I guess if that's what he's saying now, cool, I guess. But like, he did this for years.
But
a lot of people were very outraged and offended, especially Korean people.
Yeah, like, but there has to be space for forgiveness if you want people to change for the better. I learned that through conservatism, because I'm not conservative. I'm more independent, because I used to be liberal growing up my whole life.
Okay.
And then I don't like conservatives because they're too hostile. Or I mean, they say things purposely to get people to be rowdy. Like, you know what I'm talking about, the terms that they use and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't like. I'm very pacifist, so I like more of independent. So what I'm saying is, I learned that from them. Is like, if you want someone to be better, a better person, you have to give them space, and you have to give them an outlet. If not, if you trap them, they would turn into this like cornered animal, and then they would
But then you also have to give
Keep
space,
doing it.
like to your point of giving him space
Mhm.
to grow and get forgiveness or whatever. You also have to give space to the people to heal. Like
Mhm.
they have that right too. Just
Yeah.
saying.
He's gonna
But
have to do some like fundraising and
he's gonna have to do a
community
lot of
service.
like, I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yes, the point is my one of my hobbies, I guess, is K-pop, which ironically I'm not like having too much time for since I met you. You take up a lot of my time. Um, mm,
Mhm.
but anyway, yeah. So I found K-pop in college, which, to your point of like at my school, people weren't ostracized, people weren't seen as the weirdos. The people who liked K-pop in my high school were the weirdos. They were the weirdos. They were the ones who would like practice the K-pop routines during lunch. You would all be like,
You're the first
"What?"
person that I met that it's a K-pop
Yeah.
person.
Which is when I found K-pop in college. I was like, if I like this, am I gonna be the weirdo? Like, I rejected it
Oh
for in the
no.
beginning. I was like, but this is supposed to be weird, but they're so good. Like,
That's what we did with smart people. The kids were like too smart, and then we'd be like, "You're a weirdo. Why are you so smart?" And then obviously, the coolest kid, if the coolest
yeah.
kid in the room says the smart kid's a loser, the smart kid's a loser. It obviously
Okay.
it's not real, obviously, but it's more like reality of the classroom is
Mhm.
that is a fact in that classroom. That he's a
Yeah.
loser. Because if you go against the coolest kid, you're going against all the women of the class because women have this like cult mentality where they would follow the one this coolest kid in the class or the coolest kid of the grade. In grade school, it was more like who's the strongest kid in the grade, the whole
Mm.
grade. All the women would idolize and respect him.
Okay.
So a lot of men fight. So they would be like the number one, number two, number three, number four. They would all fight each other to be number one. Once he wins that number one spot, the whole year, even years, he would be number one, and people would not say no to him. Not as in that type of no, as in no, as in
Oh.
like if that number one guy classifies someone as something, that person is that thing that he classifies them as.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
let's get back on
Okay.
topic,
All right, babe. What
please.
is
And
I
this is
can ask questions about that stuff all day because I
that's
had like a few of them in my head lined up, but time's going by fast.
time is going by really fast, and
Yeah.
if you guys haven't noticed, him and I can talk on forever, and I think that's the reason why we're dating.
Yeah.
One of the reasons.
Yeah, because your brain fascinates me.
Aww. That's cute. I just love that you're fascinated.
I told you I'm a very weird person. I wish I had this type of mindset to academics because
Okay.
I would love to be like a book learner, bookworm. I would love to be that way
So
because
you're dating a bookworm instead?
yeah, because I can't do it.
Ah.
I always get distracted with things. Things distract the hell out of me.
I find it funny how you're
The,
so amazed at how fast I can read a book.
yeah, that'd be crazy. She'll be like, babe, I just read 50 pages of this giant novel book. Like, what?
But I
What?
read I
Slow
read like
down.
50 pages in like 20 minutes.
Girl, you're gonna rip the pages out the book.
If I want to, I can read a book in one sitting, but I choose to do it in like 2 to 3
Yeah, that's
because
wild.
otherwise I'll be there for a while.
The only time I can read if it's on my screen. I'm dead serious because when I scrolling helps me with my tick.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Scrolling,
Okay.
I
Okay.
sometimes move
I
back
see
and
what you
forth.
mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure everybody on the podcast knows my leg is always going up and down at all times.
Oh, I've noticed.
Yeah,
I
and
noticed. I saw it under the table.
see if it's not my hands moving, it's my leg. But yeah, when I read for like when I do the information for the podcast and stuff,
Hmm.
I can read for like 3 or 4 hours. But I had to be doing something other
Yeah.
than reading. It's weird. I had to multitask just to pay
You
attention.
do have to multitask. Like, okay, TMI, but we'll be like cuddling or watching something, and he'll be like messing with my fingernails. He'll be like flicking them and like pushing on them, and it hurts. And I'll finally be like, babe, what are you doing? Like, and he'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't notice I was doing it. I'm like,
I
well,
know.
I
It's
noticed.
true.
It
It's
hurts.
so embarrassing.
I am here to embarrass you.
All right, babe.
Uh-huh.
How did we meet?
How did we meet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the reason why I laugh is short answer, we met on a dating app. Long answer, I had multiple dating apps at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I been so disappointed with, what's out there. I'm sorry, but not sorry to all men out there. Y'all are garbage in Arizona. Like,
Wait. Facts, because I made it out.
the dating pool in Arizona is terrible. So when I got on the app that I met you on, I did not care. I did not give a damn. Like, I did not put any effort into that dating profile.
Mm-hmm.
I put one picture.
Yeah, it was one picture.
I put one
She's
picture.
Like, did you see my picture? I was like, I think so.
No, I put one picture. I put like my name, my age, that I was into like working out, that I wasn't into drugs or alcohol, and that was it. Like, that's all that was on my
That's
profile.
basically everything I put too.
Yeah.
No drugs, no alcohol.
And so after we matched, that you were like, oh yeah, I knew from your profile that you were different. I was like, there were 3 things on there, dude. Like, I don't know how you...
Yeah, if you notice, there's not that many girls that don't do drugs, don't drink, love to work, and also work out.
Yeah, and
just
then
those
I think
things alone is.
I think the other thing that was on there is that we were both Mexican.
Oh yeah,
because it's a Latino specific dating.
Oh, what was it? I don't remember.
It's called Chispa.
Yeah.
Chispa, like spark.
That was the first time I had that app too.
Yeah, so like I had absolutely no expectations besides this is going to be disappointing. And I was scrolling on there aimlessly one day and I matched with you.
Saw me.
And I thought, he's okay. Because men in Arizona are not attractive. Like, I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, so I was like, oh, he's okay. And then
okay, so men from other places are?
There's more variety. For sure.
Variety doesn't mean good.
But okay, that's a whole other podcast episode. Yeah. But anyway, we started talking a little bit. I don't know why you started talking to me about what you did.
Oh yeah, I was honest with her from the jump.
Do you want me to say what you were talking to me about?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, so we started talking like Wednesday afternoon, and a couple of texts
very
into
specific,
it.
Babe.
I have very good no. I have very good memory, and you know this. I remember facts and details, and like my memories start from when I was like 2 years old. So don't even try to
Try what? I just said you're very specific.
As if like insinuating something else. But anyway, we started talking of like, hey, hi, what are you doing, type of thing, and you were like, oh, I'm manscaping. I was like, is that what I think it is? Like.
There's so many terms I use that you don't know.
No. So
Okay.
I thought that's what it was.
Okay.
But then I was like, is this guy really telling me this? Like on the first conversation? And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to dance class now. Because this also wasn't like back-to-back texting. It was like an hour would go by and then one of us would reply type of thing. And then by the time I was going to go to my dance class, you were like, oh, I'm going to go to a movie with my brothers, which is how I found out you had brothers. And when I got out of dance class or something like that, you were about to leave or the movie. Anyway, point is, by this point, it's like nighttime. And you were like, oh, yeah, the movie is great, whatever. How was your dance class? And I said it was great. And then somewhere around like 10 or 10:30, you were like, hey, do you want to jump on a phone call? Which I've never given out my phone number to anybody on a dating app.
Yeah. Well, I'm not anybody.
But this was, again, Wednesday. On Sunday, I had gone on a really bad date. And I was like, well, it can't get any worse than this. So I was like, you know what? Okay, sure. And then we talked on the phone, or like we got on the phone, and all I remember is that you laughed through the whole thing. Anything that I would say was hilarious to you.
Funny shit.
What I remember also, I don't remember more than half of what we talked about.
Oh no, we talked for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah, we talked until like 2 or 3 in the morning that first phone call. And then what I remember from that first phone call at the end was like we both wanted to go to sleep because the time flew by.
Yeah,
it flew by. And then you said something about like, oh, can I call you tomorrow? And I was like, I mean, you can try, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna pick up. And then you're like, well, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, and I'm like, okay, good luck.
yeah, you were very nonchalant, but I was like, I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, I was like, you can
I'm
try, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna pick up. And then we talked on Thursday, the next day, and I had told you because you had talked about like us meeting in person for the first time, which was also something that I never did that fast. And I was like, well, we can, but I'm going to LA this weekend. And either you can wait until I get back from LA or we can try to squeeze it in Friday night and meet each other for the first time. And that's what we ended up doing because you were like, no, I don't want to wait.
Yeah, I don't want to wait. The reason why I don't want to wait was because the first phone call was
Mm-hmm.
good. Let me provide a little bit more backstory of why
Mm-hmm.
I jumped on it. Um, I've gone on 2 dates before going out with you that week, and my dating history has been it's been good, but it's not. I have like high standards when I date,
Mm-hmm.
and so I stopped dating for a year
Okay.
because like I wasn't happy with the type of girls I was getting, or
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't the girl's fault. First of all, it was mine. I wasn't looking for the right things. I would basically go in not knowing what I was looking for.
Okay.
Like I didn't know what type of girl would work with me, none of that. So I would just go in. So I felt really guilty for like the time I wasted of people who gave me the opportunity and stuff. So I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing bad to say with the girls I dated like at all. I just have bad things to say about myself. Like I wasn't in the right mindset, and not only that, I didn't know what I was looking for. So I was basically dating blind and going out and
Okay.
blind relationships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my fault, and it's hard to own up, but I need to own up onto it, whatever. And I stopped dating for a year, found out what I was looking for,
Okay.
and I needed a girl that was like this, very smart, intellectual, person that keeps me on my toes and distracts me before my brain wanders off to some I don't know where.
I don't distract you. I bring you back.
Yeah,
I'm like, reel it in, babe.
yeah, she gives me gravity.
There you go.
Damn, that's a bar. Okay, so I had an all right date, and it
Mm-hmm.
was just like the dates I was talking about. I was like, this is not the type of girl I want, and
Mm-hmm.
why do I keep looking for them? And then I had another date, I think on Tuesday, and it
Really? I
was
didn't know that.
same thing. It was all right.
Oh.
Um, it was very just a nonchalant dating. Like I could probably date that girl for like 6 months or something like that, but I wouldn't be happy. I would just be like, it's just dating. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like having fun. I guess you want to say it's just having fun. I'm already done having fun. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't talk to those girls again. And then I met you on Wednesday. I was like, whoa, this is like a breath of fresh air. This was like, finally, man. I was drowning. I was about to give up for another year.
Okay, Mr. Dramatic.
I
Like,
was. You could talk to my best friend that week. I was struggling a lot because I was like reaffirming that I don't know what I'm looking for, type of
mm-hmm.
thing. Or like I had this issue where like hyperbolic thinking where I was like, I don't think I'll ever find Mrs. Jose or Mrs. Hernandez or something like that for me. And I was very hyperbolic about it. And then I
Okay.
met you, and I was like, yes, this is the one.
Do you?
Yeah.
Whoa.
First phone call, I didn't know she was the one on the first phone call, but on the first
Mm-hmm.
phone call, I knew this was something different. This was something I can go further with than previous
Okay.
women. So second phone call, like reinforced it more, and then
Okay.
the third phone call was uh
There was no third phone call.
no,
The,
it
the
wasn't out there.
third day's when we met, bro.
Yeah, we met on the third. Also, she was gonna leave that
Mm-hmm.
weekend, and then I was busy for the rest of the week,
I don't know. You
and
you
we weren't be
just
able to see each other till next weekend. And I was like, it's gonna be a week and a half before I see this girl after we talked. So I was like, nah, I want to see her this Friday, and or on Monday or Tuesday, next week or something.
mm-hmm.
And she gets out of work at 6:30, 7:30, and it's super late. Obviously, if you're trying to have a first date, you can't go on a first
Yeah.
date late. Yes, it has to be moderately around the midday, especially like
Okay.
you have some type of sunlight out there, because women don't trust men, and
Oh, we
it's
could
a
have
good
a
thing.
whole episode about our first date.
Yeah, that first date was sick. All right, guys, that was the episode. Please follow the channel please follow my channel and all my socials for uploads and updates. Every Wednesday 6 p.m. MST for uploads for episodes, and every Sunday 6 p.m. MST for teaser uploads of the episodes coming up. Please like this video, share this video with your friends and family, comment your thoughts on this video, and please subscribe to this channel to have a bigger impact and have a bigger following. And this is your host, Hitting Escape. Peace.
Which is a world that you know nothing about.
Thank God.
Absolutely. Excuse you. The short answer to that is, who knows?